Not all who wander are lost. Sometimes they're just trying to go for that platinum trophy. Hey, it's Game Rant, and here are the 10 best open world games published by Sony, ranked. Number 10, Jak 3. In retrospect, it seems the Jak and Daxter franchise was much more than a series of simple platformers. The first experimented with streaming in a constrained hub world. The second had Jak go all Grand Theft Auto in some very narrow city streets, again a hub world. But 3 is where the vehicles really took center stage, allowing players ease of access across the extra-large, extra-long environments. For once, there wasn't such a harsh break between travel and a mission scenario, making the Jak story that much more seamless. Plus, the Daxter stages gave our furry friend the much-earned spotlight. Number 9, The Getaway. One of the most revolutionary video games ever created, The Getaway had players traveling through a realistic London based on actual geographical regions in a cross between Guy Ritchie and The Long Good Friday. Several years before Grand Theft Auto would add cover-based shooting, The Getaway already had it, and blind fire. In fact, they included right analog stick driving options and a health recovery system. Again, these were trends that had just started or had yet to begin. If you're wondering where all this talent went, well, they went on to make the beloved cult classic L.A. Noire. So if you're a fan of Cole Phelps, hop the pond and meet Mark Hammond. Number 8, Days Gone. The director of Days Gone has explained the game's failure to attract a wider audience was because the fans couldn't handle how gruff the protagonist was. And while it's true that this game would be better without Deacon St. John, yes, really, that's his name, this sad little Hesher boy goes by the name Deke like it's a 1980s animation company. The truth is, Days Gone launched in a poor condition with a bad frame rate, and that's not exactly the sort of thing you want to hear when you're riding motorcycles around trees. But eventually, the PlayStation 5 free upgrade restored this lost first-party gem, and players have since reclaimed it. While the director continues his 5th year in trying to finish the sentence no one else understands. Ignore the drama and enjoy a fun little zombie game. Number 7, Death Stranding. Speaking of drama, Death Stranding is one of the most fascinating video games ever produced. And we mean that both in end product and its backstory, as Death Stranding can be seen as an allegory for the creator, Hideo Kojima, attempting to find his footing after his very public falling out with Konami. Here, players take control of Sam Bridges as he travels the United States, being destroyed by downpours of rain which age everything instantly, or shadowy, inky monsters that pull humans into a fate worse than death. In short, it's a game about walking and traveling, when all you want to do is run. It certainly feels like an allegory for depression and how hope endures in the face of oblivion. A Sony publishing agreement funded this project, and it's safe to say few other companies would have taken this risk, even for Kojima. Number 6, Infamous 1 and 2. Look, we're not here to decry Infamous Second Son on the PlayStation 4. It's a great game and a fun early launch title, but Infamous 1 and 2 feel lost to time, and that is frankly a crime worthy of a superhero to solve. Players take control of a new metal frontman wannabe Cole McGrath in a world that has very suddenly been introduced to superpowers, with many humans adapting to their new intense powers. And not everyone is taking great responsibility. So, how does it play? Well, a lot like Sly Cooper. No, really, this is Sucker Punch straight off of Sly Cooper, but well before Ghost of Tsushima. So it has all the floaty jumps you would expect from the former. So, Sony, PlayStation 3 streaming is great and all, but could you port these games over to next gen already? Number 5, Gravity Rush 2. To paraphrase the Hutsucker proxy, it's all too sad to say, but Gravity Rush 2 was destined to fail. After all, Gravity Rush 1 launched on the PlayStation Vita, and despite overwhelmingly positive reviews, it never quite grabbed an audience, even when it went to the PlayStation 4. And that's a shame because the world Cat inhabits is full of whimsy and joy, and the gameplay allowing players to fail, or fall anywhere. See, she isn't flying, it's actually falling. It's complicated, but the gameplay is original and compelling, well before you introduce the large world to explore. It would be nice to see a PlayStation 5 upgrade for this one to remove some of those tucked away loading streams and those long distances. But as it is, Gravity Rush 2 is well worth a look for anyone seeking something original. Number 4, the Horizon series. While scientists are still attempting to work out the connection between Forza and Zero Dawn, we the players are lucky enough to enjoy 2 big beefy robo-dinosaur-packed adventures with Alloy in the Horizon series. The first game has a compelling story of an outsider grasping with their unique role in the salvation of mankind, and the second game is about, well, there's a lot of cutscenes, but don't take that as a knock on the gameplay. The resource gathering and incredibly convenient crafting systems of the sequel make it a worthy addition in gameplay and visuals. But remember, you can just skip the cutscenes and get to the next big dino fight. We don't blame you. But the first game we do recommend for its story, which is why both are on this list. Number 3, Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus is an interesting game. On the one hand, it wordlessly explores a desolate world, having players take on iconic colossi one by one. Today, this would set the indie world ablaze, but back then it had to meet the standards of a PlayStation 2 AAA game, meaning it is several hours long, and it's questionable how many of these encounters were truly essential. But that is an opinion formed long after after the fact, because when Shadow of the Colossus launched on the PlayStation 2, even with its terrible frame rate issues, it left an indelible mark on game design that we still see in many original works to this day, and marked a shift in tone for console games, or at least expanded the emotional palette going forward, and that's the sort of thing that only can happen once. Number 2. Ghost of Tsushima. Ubisoft has finally given the green light to a Japanese Assassin's Creed, and while that game will certainly be viewed on its own merit when the time comes, it feels a tad bit too late now that Ghost of Tsushima is available not only on Sony consoles, but has been expanded to PC with the extra sheen of ultra-wide monitor support. This is one of the most beautiful games currently, merging historic iconography with watercolor aesthetics mashed against cool dark realism and violence. Do you want to play as a Japanese swordsman? Do you want to play a game that's open world? If so, Ghost of Tsushima is the first game you should play immediately. And as we mentioned before, this is the Sly Cooper team. Pretty wild. Number 1. Marvel's Spider-Man series. There was a bit of a misunderstanding between the launch of Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox and the launch of Marvel's Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. See, players liked Spider-Man 2 and wanted more of it, while Activision continued to pump out worse and worse imitations of their own product. Meanwhile, Insomniac snatches up the property, does exactly what everyone has been asking for, and sells millions upon millions of copies. And let's close out this list underlying a pattern. When Kojima wanted to make his whacked out game, when Team Ico wanted to challenge the adventure concept, when fans wanted Assassin's Creed in Japan or more Spider-Man 2, Sony listened to its creators and its fans, and then delivered. Hopefully we see this trend continue because the results speak for themselves. Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and 2 can hardly be called original, but if delivering this sort of jaw-dropping open-world technology were easy, everyone else would be doing it. And there you have it, the 10 best open-world games published by Sony, ranked. Ready to explore the open roads? Well, how about starting with that Game Rant search bar and finding another list? And we'll see you next time.